Hello friends, good evening and welcome to another session of Tech Tablet Daily Dose. Do subscribe to this channel for daily reviews on your technology. So in today's session we would be looking at the further part, that is some more questions on Ui5 Fiori technical. Now these are questions which are often asked. I would not try to claim that these are the only questions asked for any interview. As you know, the arena is too broad and the questions are too few. So let us begin. The first question is, what are the SAP UI5 fragments? Now when we talk of fragments, these are reusable and light UI controls, and these are UI of another screen. Like now if you have two applications that you have created, wherein the first application view is what is required in the second application also, then in this case you do not have to create the entire view. You can just use the similar detailing of the previous view into your new project. Now that can be done when you're using a code like this or an extension like this, wherein the namespace would be myFragment.fragment.xml. Now myFragment would be the name of your page and fragment.xml would be the extension. Right? And then we have, what are the Fiori design principles? Now this is one question that is very often asked in most of the interviews. There are 5 features which are to be embedded when you're talking of a Fiori application. They being, the first one is role based, the second one is delightful, simple, responsive, followed by coherent. Now all these design principles ensure that at the end your Fiori application is working as per the principles designed by SAP. Now if you have these principles, then your application would not only become fast, but it would also become very simple to understand and it would work on any device. So that is the reason why these principles have been absorbed. What is SAP Ui5 bootstrapping? Now this is nothing but you have loading and initializing of your HTML page in SAP Ui5. And here you have some libraries that are required for your application project. Now these libraries are initialized here. Now you have the JavaScript libraries which are loaded. How do they happen? They happen because you have SAP Ui5 Bootstrap happening, right? Then what are all the types of Fiori applications? Right, so my friends, we have 3 types of applications. They are transactional, analytical and fact sheets. Now when you talk of transactional, it is like you enter an input and you get an output, but that is not the same with analytical or fact sheets as well. Analytics completely are meant for present and future. Like if you have an application or if you have projection of your figures and if you want to check how it would be 3 months later, then that would be perfect for an analytical application to do. But if it's a fact sheet one or a factual one, then it is just displaying what you have or what is there right now. So these are the differences between transactional, analytical and fact sheets. Then we have a very simple but yet important question. What is the difference between SAP UI5 and Fiori? Fiori is nothing but a collection of standard applications which SAP has provided in its library. Now there are almost around 7,000 odd applications which SAP Fiori has standardized for us to use. But when we are talking of UI5, then this is completely use of custom libraries to design our own application. Now UI5 and Fiori are separated or distinguished based on the design guidelines and how the design paradigm is developed for each of them. Now if you're talking of Fiori, then as we have seen, all that you have to do is understand the name or know the name of the backend and frontend component and load them. But if you're talking of UI5, then you create your frontend, you create your backend, you do the data binding and then you load. So at the end the result would be the same, but the process to achieve the result is what is different when you're talking of UI5 or Fiori. But otherwise they both fall into a very similar module. Then how do you know if your device is a touch screen or not? Now here is where the API references come into play. Now for this we have two APIs that we generally use. The first being SAP UI device. Now this can be used for the device and the features that you want to add into it. Now once this has been done, then what you do is you put a flag of API that is device touch, SAP UI device touch. Now this is returned true if the device is a touch screen, and if it is not, then it would be a false. So that is how we detect or we know if the device being used is a touch screen or not. Now what are the various design patterns available or recommended when you are working in SAP UI5? Now SAP has recommended some design patterns based on the regular usage or based on the requirement of an application. Now these are four. The first being master detail, the second being master detail, the third being a full screen application, and the fourth being full screen master detail, which is a multi-flow application. Generally we use the first three on a very regular basis. The fourth one is hardly used. At least I have not got a chance to work on the fourth variety of design pattern as of now. But yes, if you're talking of master detail, then the application which you are using on Amazon, wherein on the left side panel you have the items, and on the right side panel when you click on shoes, you have the varieties of shoes being displayed on the right side. Now this is a perfect example of master detail page. Now when you're talking of master detail, this is a bit more interactive or a more better drilled down version of a master detail application. Full screen application needs no elaborate explanation, because when you're talking of full screen application, then here your entire it goes page wise. Like in one page you have one functionality that is to be achieved, unlike master detail pages. Do fragments have its own controller? What are fragments? As we have just discussed, fragments are reusable views. They are reusable components that can be used for our own convenience. So fragments are created without any controllers, which means that fragments do not have their own controller. Rather, they share the controller of the view which is invoking it. So it means that you have a separate controller that is to be designed for a fragment to be used, which means that fragments do not have its own controller. Do keep these answers in your mind, because these are some questions which are very often asked and we generally make a mistake on them. It's not because that we do not know, it is because of many factors that enhance or that play on us when we are attending an interview, be it tension or be it exaggeration or hyperventilation, and we do not want this to be happening. Right? Then we have what are the different options in SAP Fiori Launchpad design. So when you're talking of Launchpad design, there are two levels or two layers of designing, the first being configuration layer and the second being customization layer. Now when you're talking of configuration layer, here you have all the content that is to be delivered to the customer, even if it is including your translation. But then if it is of a customization layer, then the customer would himself adjust all the content that is required for him in the system. Or we can use the CUST layer for testing or other purposes. But otherwise, whatever content or whatever is it that you want to display, then this is entirely transportable through customizing requests. Now this is done when the customer does it. Now once this is done, then it is separated from the configuration layer, and here you do not have any automatic synchronization that happens, so it is to be done manually. So these are the two options that you have for your Launchpad designing. Last but not the least, what are the life cycle or hook methods in SAP UI5 controllers? There are four methods that JavaScript offers to you, which are called as lifecycle methods or hook methods also. They are onInit, onExit, on after rendering, and on before rendering. Let us just understand what these are. OnInit is used or is triggered whenever a view is instantiated. Like if you have a view that is generated with the controls, then it is onInit only. This is the most simplest one and the most often one used. But when you're talking of onExit, it is exactly opposite. This is used when the view is to be destroyed, when you want to free your screen of your resources and you want to call the finalized activities, or you want to finalize your activities. For both of them you use on exit. Then you have on after rendering. Now once the view has been rendered, then is when on after rendering is used. Like you want to change as soon as the view is rendered, then you use on after rendering. And on before rendering is triggered, or is to be triggered when your view is to be rendered before the controller or view are actually instantiated. So on before rendering is generally called before the controller view is rendered, and not after, or not once the rendering process is done. So this is like on the go process. You have on before rendering used for this purpose. So these are some 10 questions that are quite frequently asked in, I would not say all of them, but yes, I am sure you would come across at least a couple of questions in your next interview that is scheduled for you. If you have an experience, or if you fall into the experience category of 0, that is fresher, to 5 years. So I really hope you have enjoyed the session and gained some help out of this. Do stay tuned to this channel for many more videos like these yet to be shared, and a lot of knowledge yet to be exchanged between us. Have a great day and do stay subscribed to this channel. I hope you have enjoyed the session.